Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you guys know I cover hurricanes on this channel from time to time. Reason why, I'm fascinated by them. I have been since I've been a little kid, you know. We got one brewing right now, and I've seen enough hurricanes in my years of study. I started studying them when I was like 6 years old. Never became a meteorologist, but I've learned a lot about them. I got a sixth sense for these hurricanes. And I think this one's going to be a bad one. Now, it's brewing and it's aiming itself toward Florida, the east coast of Florida. The center of the cone right now is probably around St. Augustine, just south of Jacksonville, Florida. That's where it's aiming itself toward right now. But there can be fluctuations to the north or to the south in the next day or two. You know, a small deviation of movement now will change the target more on the other end when it gets closer to its destination. So let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at this beast. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out to you guys before we get right into Hurricane Dorian. I believe that Donald Trump said to nuke the hurricanes. The thing is, would that work? You know, it sounds like a crazy idea. But when the hurricane is first forming its center of low pressure, it would probably work. Tell you truthfully, it would probably work. Because what happens is the hurricane starts with basically. Have you ever seen out in the fields, out in say some place that's really flat and they have prairies and stuff? You know, there's out in the Midwest or whatever. They get something called dust devils. A dust devil, when a dust devil forms, you know, there's an intense center of low pressure right in the center of the dust devil. And the thing is hurricanes form in a similar way. They start with a small swirl, a small little vortex of low pressure. And if you bust that apart when it's first forming, it would probably work. But let's move on. Let's get right into this hurricane now, and let's take a look at where it is and what it's doing. Let's take a look at the warning cone right here. Clicked on it. Here we go. This is the warning cone. This is where it is right now. This little spot in red and yellow down here as of 2 p.m. Its current location is 18.3 degrees north, 65 degrees west. Maximum sustained wind right now of 75 miles an hour. And it's moving, let's see, it should say, okay, northwest at 13 miles an hour. That's a relatively fast forward speed for a hurricane. Typically, probably average, they probably move around 8 miles an hour. So 13 is a little bit fast. 4 miles an hour is a bit slow. When they only travel about 4 miles an hour, they tend to wobble a little bit on their course. But when they're moving fast like this, it's easy to tell their course because their heading is more direct. They move more where they're aiming when they're moving fast. You know, it's easier to forecast a fast-moving hurricane than a very slow-moving hurricane. They tend to wobble, and when they really slow down and they stop, they're getting ready to turn in a different direction. But this one's not moving slow. This one's moving directly and very fast at 13 miles an hour, so it's clipping right along. Now it's going to be moving through some waters here where it's just open water, and it'll probably intensify. And that's why I'm saying this is probably going to be quite a bad storm. It'll probably intensify. It has several days to intensify. And it's already reached hurricane speed. So let's take a look at the wind speed probability cone. And you can see where they're aiming it toward. They're aiming it toward around Daytona Beach, or just north of Daytona Beach, maybe Ormond Beach, or maybe as far north as St. Augustine. That's where it looks like it's headed. But it could move a little bit farther north and impact Jacksonville, or even farther north and impact Savannah. the Savannah area, but it's a little bit hard to tell because it's still quite far out in the open ocean right now. Let's take a look at the discussion about the hurricane. It says satellite image indicate that the cloud pattern has become better organized during the past several hours. Okay, so now let's take a look at the satellite imagery. And what we see here in the satellite imagery is a little bit hard for you guys to see, but this round blob, there's actually two round blobs on here. It's the round blob that is slightly below center of the page and slightly to the right hand side of the page there. It's that round wheel looking blob. And I'll tell you what I see looking at this radar image right now. I don't see a extreme amount of convection. Convection is what feeds a hurricane. I see a typical amount of convection, not a lot of deep convection in the storm. I don't see a whole lot of wind shear right now. Wind shear is the enemy of hurricanes. Analyzing this satellite imagery, I see where the hurricane, I don't see a rapid intensification on the hurricane because I don't see enough deep convection for a rapid intensification. Now, there is some fairly deep convection near the core of the hurricane, but it looks like in the last two images here that convection is weakening a little bit. But you know what? This is the time of day. Thunderstorms are what feed these hurricanes, and this is what creates the convection. And there's a certain time of day when thunderstorms pop up, and it's around this time of day, so we might see a few thunderstorms pop up in this thing and give it more fuel as it moves out over open water. Now, I think this is going to be a bad hurricane. And in a day or two more, I'm going to be doing more reports, and you guys will see. I think this one's going to be a bad one. So listen, stay tuned to this channel, and we'll keep you updated on this hurricane as it progresses toward the east coast of North America. Bye-bye, guys.